So, today we are once again going to go through Transcend by Scott Barry Kaufman, or Kaufman, however the fuck you pronounce it. I should actually look these things up, because I never ever know, unfortunately, but who cares? I certainly do not. We're going to go ahead with plateau experiences. The time before we've been talking about peak experiences, which apparently are just the best experiences that we have in life, I guess. I don't know what I've been talking about in this episode. It's actually been some time since then. But let's talk about plateau experiences. And I'm going to start reading. At a transpersonal conference in Council Grove, Kansas, a few weeks later, Maslow provided a term for what he was experiencing, the plateau experience. For what he was experiencing. Might be wrong. Anyway, Maslow co-opted this term from his East Indian colleague U.A. Asrani, so U.A. I don't know what it stands for, who actually credited the term to the English writer Arthur Osborne. While peak experiences are ecstatic and momentary, Maslow argued that plateau experiences are more enduring and cognitive and involves seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, which I think is actually something pretty amazing. If you're able to pull that off, actually seeing the great things in, probably everyday life. Maslow referred to the form of consciousness present in the plateau experience as unitive consciousness, which he defined as the simultaneous perception of the sacred and the ordinary, are now perceived under the aspect of eternity and become mystic, poetic, and symbolic about ordinary things. There is a paradox, because it is a miraculous and yet doesn't produce an autonomic burst. Elaborating on this in the preface to the 1970 edition of Religions, Values and Peak Experiences, he noted that the plateau state of consciousness becomes a witnessing and appreciation. And appreciating, I don't know. Which can, however, have a quality of casualness and of lounging about. I see. Maslow believed that plateau experiences were more voluntary than peak experiences and could be deliberately sought. I can go to an art museum or a meadow rather than into a subway, and even though I think you can teach plateau experiences, you could hold classes in miraculousness. In a journal entry dated March 28th, 1970, Maslow also mentioned his intention to develop exercises to help bring on the plateau state. Think this through, including the B exercises in unitive exercises, sacralizing exercises, etc. They would automatically help toward B love, which is a desired state to be in. Unitary continuum of transcendent experiences. Alternate names for the transcendent experience: mystic experience, peak experience, religious, spiritual, and mystical experiences, which apparently are RSME and a small s, so capital R, capital S, capital M, capital E, and a non-capital S. Clear light, cosmic consciousness, deautomatization, Fana, F-A-N-A, mystical union, flow experience, or the flow state as I actually know it, optimal experience, elevating experience, God experience, intensity experience, inward light, living flame of love, love fire, numinous experience, objective consciousness, the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, samadhi, S-A-M-A-D-H-I, satori, shamanic ecstasy, the silence beyond sound, subliminal consciousness. At its most extreme, transcendence is a feeling of complete unity with everything, absolute unitary being, including other humans, the social environment, as well as of all existence, nature, and the cosmos, the spatial environment. James observed that one extreme outcome from mystical experiences can be the feeling of being at home in the universe. There are a variety of transcendent exercises that differ in their experiences that differ in their intensity and degree of unity with the world. There is a unitary continuum, ranging from the experience of becoming deeply absorbed in an engrossing book, sports, performance, or creative activity. What psychologist Mihaly, I'm not gonna even try to pronounce this last name, refers to as the flow experience, to experiencing an extended mindful meditation retreat, to feeling gratitude for a selfless act of kindness, to merging with a loved one, to experiencing awe, AWE, because I still don't know how to really pronounce it. I could actually look that up now, unless there is nothing. And apparently, well, there is something. And this is indeed a noun. I always thought that it is just some slang word kind of thing. Anyway. Arme? Well, I still don't know. Anyway. At a beautiful sunset or the stars above, to being so inspired by something, whether an inspiring role model, virtuoso performance, intellectual idea, or act of moral beauty, that you have a transcendent awakening all the way up to the great mystical illumination. By the way, look outside your window and have a look at the weather. At this point in time, my weather is just really amazing. And I appreciate that, I really do. I really am looking forward to going outside and getting in a bit of sunlight. You know, doing a bit of sports, cycling probably. And then, you know, while listening to some audiobook, listening to some podcast, whatever I might be able to find. And then coming home, eating, maybe watching some series. It's gonna be a good day, I guess. Anyway, there are a variety of... Oh, I've already read that. The unitary continuum, increasing degrees of perceived unity. And there is actually a graph. This conceptual graph was adapted from Yaden. Jaden? No. So Y-A-D-E-N. At Aller 2017, the varieties of self-transcendent experience, it suggests a range of transcendent experiences with varying levels of connection with the world, as it included for suggestive, demonstrative purposes. Further research is required to further flesh out this model. I see. So on the very left, well, I do have to note. So this is for all the podcast listeners. Imagine a triangle. Now you're gonna take this triangle and turn it 90 degrees so that the wider open side is on the left side and the narrow or peak is on the right side, or cone, or whatever the fuck you want to imagine. So on the left side, and you're gonna halve the whole triangle or pyramid, whatever you wanna, if you wanna have a 3D or not. Anyway, and so on the top we have the self, and on the bottom we have the world. And as it progresses from normal life, which is a complete separation of the self and the world, to flow, which lets it overlap a little bit, and which is also the start of the pyramid on the left side. Then we have mindfulness, which once again increases or decreases the distance between self and world a bit, and it is overlapping even a bit more than in the flow. Then we have gratitude, and again it becomes closer and closer. We have love, again closer. Then awe, A-W-E, however you pronounce it. Then inspiration, where you can actually already see that it really becomes quite one, the self and the world. Then you have peak and mystical experiences, which for the peak experience you have, well, a bit better than inspiration, and the mystical experience is the full coverage, the full combination of self and world. So they are one, not two. Anyway, while transcendent experiences differ in various ways, they all have in common weakening of the boundaries to connectedness with others, the world, and one's own self. William James personally observed this core aspect of the transcendent experience. Looking back on my own experiences, and this is a quote by the way, they all converge towards a kind of insight to which I cannot help ascribing some metaphysical significance. It is as if the opposites of the world, whose contradictories and conflict make all our difficulties and troubles, were melted into unity. Modern research attests that the transcendent state of consciousness is related to positive mental health, including positive changes in family life, reduced fear of death, better health, and a great sense of purpose, as well as a motivation for increased altruism and pro-social behaviors. In transcendent moments of self-loss, there is often a heightened sense of pure being, and by the way, being is capitalized, and the experience often feels realer than real. William James referred to this as the noetic quality of the mystic experience. What is more, the language associated with feelings of realness suggests a greater connection with a larger whole, inclusiveness, and physical proximity, such as all, everything, we, close, and the use of fewer first-person pronouns such as I and my. Transcending dichotomies. A key emergence of the theory's sad worldview is dichotomy transcendence. Ordinary dichotomies such as male versus female, heart versus head, lust versus love, good versus evil, national versus global, selfish versus unselfish, kindness versus ruthlessness, happy versus sad, or mystical versus realistic are no longer seen as dichotomies, but are all seen as simply parts of a larger integrated whole. I hope I have made my point clear. Only by resolving and transcending the dichotomy between primary and secondary process, consciousness and unconsciousness, rational and intuitive, scientific and aesthetic, work and play, abstract and concrete, rubricizing and direct experiencing, can we perceive all of the world and of ourselves. Only thereby can we experience whole science, whole language, whole mathematics, whole art, whole education, and whole people. Maslow, public lecture in 1961. Since the next section is actually quite long, I'm going to end the episode there. But for the sake of me actually not maybe getting the things that I want to have out of it, mystical experience. A mystical experience is considered one of a few non-ordinary states of consciousness, also referred to by some as altered state of consciousness or ASCS, particularly when the consciousness shift occurs as a result of ingesting a substance. So can you really do that without substance? How to have a psychedelic trip without drugs. And it's actually quite quickly. Fieldtrip.com maybe, I don't know. Having a psychedelic trip without drugs. Seeking a sober trip. Altered states of consciousness aren't just exclusive to psychedelics. There are actually several ways you can have a psychedelic experience without the use of psychedelic substances, like psilocybin, LSD, ayahuasca, and DMT. We are covering the 6 ways you can have a psychedelic experience without consuming anything. At first, and this is something that if you are in the space a bit informed, you have stumbled upon it, holotropic breathwork. Producing life-altering mystical experiences, holotropic breathwork, or HB, is an alternative practice for those seeking to gain therapeutic benefits from altered states of consciousness. From the Greek words holos, meaning whole, and trepien, representing movement in a specific direction, holotropic precisely means to move towards wholeness. Wholeness maybe in terms of you and the world being one, just according to the graph we went through. Michael Pollan, who is very, 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 very into psychedelics, I would say, not necessarily in terms of favoring it or saying it is just amazing or whatnot, but being very informed, I'd say. Explains this in his best-selling book, How to Change Your Mind. He began seeing visuals of himself on a horse galloping through a forest and absorbing the animal's power. Anyway, sensory deprivation tank. Yes. Kundalini activation process. Skip the MDMA and enter bliss-like states with the process. Similar to REIKI, the process is a transmission of energy founded by Venant Wong, who discovered who discovered he could activate a person's Kundalini through touch by working with the energy systems and meridian points. Certified facilitators transmit non-dual awareness or life force energy that enters through the crown chakra and flows down towards the root chakra. It's an energy believed to be located at the base of the spine. Anyway, hypnosis, eye gazing. Although not commonly thought as an altered state, eye gazing has shown to increase hallucinations and disassociation similar to a psychedelic in as little as 10 minutes of gazing into someone's eyes. Anechoic chamber, a sober option for those who just aren't ready for psychedelic medicine or for those who are simply looking to gain an understanding of what it's like. Sober psychedelic experiences do exist, as similar to psilocybin, ketamine, and other psychedelics. Many show promising therapeutic benefits like increasing overall well-being and pain management. So the only thing that I guess you could be doing is eye gazing, if you have the person to do so, and to holotropic breathwork. But before I move into that a bit more, ways to trip without psychedelics. Let's see, there's a Forbes article and a Double Blind Mag article. They're probably all going to talk about kind of the same. I'm not going to disable my ad blocker, so I'm not going to be on Forbes. Just for the sake of being a bit quicker. Yeah, holotropic breathwork. Is it actually the same article? Sensory deprivation, I think, yeah, it's just literally the same. This video, most of the entries on this list can be induced at home unless your neighbors happen to be holotropic breathwork facilitators or you have enough cash to buy your own sensory. Oh, can't be induced, I'm sorry. Holotropic breathwork facilitator. So apparently also for holotropic breathwork you need a facility. But this entry is different. All you have to do is watch the video below, which was designed to create hallucinations based on the motion atrophy effect, or MAE illusions. Also known as the waterfall illusion, because it is often happens naturally when people stare at a waterfall for a while and then look at a stationary object, which will appear to be moving because their eyes blah 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 blah. This video takes the illusion and puts it on steroids by adding visual effects to enhance the distorted view of the world that you'll get after staring at your screen for about 90 seconds. There's a quote: "I was watching TV and doing this and looked back and the TV was moving," said YouTube commentator something. Another one noticed that the decorations in the room had turned into a Salvador Dali painting. The paintings on my wall stretched apart from blah 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 blah. Some found the results downright terrifying. I did this and looked at my girlfriend. I screamed. One commenter, blah blah. If you want to find out what they are talking about, check out the video. I really doubt that there are some this is actually well, I'm gonna have to talk about that. It's actually pretty funny. What I want to say is, I doubt that there are any therapeutic effects with this certain video that you can watch. I'm gonna watch it afterwards. But the vortex tunnel, in which I've actually really recently been in, this is fucking amazing. So in the end, it works in a way. You are in a tunnel. The tunnel per se is moving. You are on, so there's a floor through the tunnel, so one end connects to the other end. It's not a very long tunnel, but because, I guess because of the lights, because of the motion, so the tunnel is rotating, by going through, you can't walk in a straight line. It is very, very difficult, and it is also very easy for you to just, throw up, I'd say. You know, if you really have a light tummy, whatnot, it's going to be quite easy. But it's actually pretty interesting. I've been to it in Vienna. Apparently there's also one in Canada. Oh, the Museum of Illusions in Toronto. And I've been in the Museum of Illusions in Vienna. It's a large corridor with rotating walls that are lit with black lights as you walk into the tunnel. The fluorescent paint on the spinning walls will make you feel like you have been thrown inside a washing machine full of neon pink and purple clothes. After doubling back, I took a few deep breaths to steady myself and work up the courage to face the vortex again. This time I kept a tight grip on the metal railing. Yeah, this is just, indeed overly dramatizing it. Anyway, mystical experiences. Let's just Google this once again. 9 signs you've had a mystical experience. By the lonerwolf.com site. There is one particular state of consciousness that can change your life forever. In this profound state of being, you feel that life is full of beauty and sacredness, yet this feeling is not subjective, but it is instead an objective phenomenon that is outside your personal self. Theologian Rudolf Otto, or actually Rudolf Otto, I guess, called this experience numinosum, but in this article we'll refer to it as the mystical experience. 9 characteristics of a mystical experience. Conscious unity, the boundaries of where you perceive your individual identity to begin and completely vanish. There is no time or space, objective reality, gratitude, life is seen as sacred, you understand paradox. Your sense of identity creates duality in your perception of reality. I am separate from that. The experience is indescribable. Experience is temporary. The experience is life-changing. On the other hand, by going back a bit, we have the peak experience, and we also have inspiration. So let's actually quickly see inspiration experience. Why inspiration matters. Harvard Business awakens us to new possibilities. Maybe peak experience. Let's see if I can find something there. A peak experience is an altered state of consciousness characterized by euphoria, often achieved by self-actualizing individuals. There's a Wikipedia article if you want to know. And there's also the Maslow pyramid, which is kind of the basis of the whole summary that we are going through. Yeah. And so apparently there is non-flow states, micro-flow states, the flow states, the deep flow state, and also the peak performance state as far as I can read this fucking graph. In the humanistic psychology of Abraham Maslow, a moment of awe, ecstasy, or sudden insight into a life as a powerful unity transcending space, time, and the self, peak experience may at times occur for individuals in the pursuit of self-actualization. Well, yeah, anyway, I think that we went through enough today. 24 minutes of hopefully good things. I'm going to end the episode here. I wish you the very best, and I'm hopefully going to see you soon. So, bye-bye.